And hello, everybody. It is Thursday. I am Pseudo. You're on MMO Buff. You're with the Datamine, and you have with me the awesome, the codable, the I don't know, library
Codable?
codable. Wait, we could be.
Okay.
Hey,
The codable.
you're
I'll be the
codable.
codable.
The codable. See, we're still trying to find that name to fit between you, like just underneath us. We're still trying to find a good name for you to just go down there. But I am joined by the awesome Danny from Just a Pixel, as always.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. It is a very good day. It's sunny. Can you not tell?
It is sunny, and I'm in my basement. Damn it.
Well, aren't all independent developers just living in their basement trying to pump out code? Isn't that the stereotype?
Yeah, that's the stereotype, and it's the reality too, sadly.
Oh, that's a shame. Well,
That's fine.
actually, you know what we should do sometime? I'm going to ask you just real quickly to see how you're doing with Light, because I know that you've been going through quite a bit of post-analysis and development and fixing. But how is that going for you? Because
Pretty
you're
well.
doing
We're almost
QA.
finished now. We're doing the QA rounds, which means I get to find all the smallest little bugs that don't really affect anyone except for the single user with a specific hardware chipset, and finding those little bugs and then trying to fix them without the actual hardware in house is quite difficult. But yeah, that's the difficult, the not so glamorous side of game development. But yeah, it's been fun. It's almost finished. We're almost there.
Yes, and we will be doing a show on QA. We will be doing a show on actual project management. We will be doing a show on start to finish. We'll be doing a show on how to do a game jam. And as a reminder, we will have information coming up sometime in the next couple weeks about our game jam. And yeah, we just have a couple of decisions we need to make, including which weekend we wish to sacrifice our lives to the development of a game jam.
Development Cthulhu, sorry.
Development Cthulhu. Well, absolutely. So we're going to start off this show with a random question just for fun, because I'm curious, because I've been yawning all morning, no matter how much caffeine I have shoved into me. So my question for you, Mr. Programmer Man, Mr. Codable, is Mr. Codable. Now I kind of want to make it into a song. Or a rap song.
Man.
Or a rap song. We're not going there.
Oh, just please start rapping.
I can't. I won't.
No,
you
no,
can't
no.
make me do it. But yes, so since yawning is known to be contagious, which most people would agree with, do you believe it's possible to digitally influence people to yawn if you make your NPCs yawn? Can you mind control people to yawn through your NPCs?
Can I cause someone to yawn because an animation of yawning plays?
Yes.
Maybe. I don't know. I think you'd have to have a really detailed character model and just have some really, I don't know, the sound effect of a yawn. Have people done that?
I don't think
Yawning
you have
sound
to
effects?
hear it.
I think you might.
I am
mean, if you see it.
sure. I'm sure someone has done a sound
I
effect.
can guarantee that someone will be making some sort of game where it's a yawning simulator and they're just trying to make people yawn.
Maybe that should be our game jam.
No. The yawn simulator.
The yawn
We'll call
simulator.
it the yawning jam.
Hey, you got to get the right caliber of, jaw dropping and, the facial muscles. Oh gosh.
The jaw to face ratio.
The jaw to face ratio. That would be a little crazy.
That
But
would be pretty detailed.
see, now I want to
Could be
do
good.
it. Now I want to do it. I'm really curious if we can accomplish it. But today we're not going to focus too much on yawning. We're actually going to be digging into a topic that, like I said, was requested. And this actually deals with game engines. Now, there are a lot of game engines out there, and, we should probably take a walk down memory lane and think of what it was like years and years ago before these engines existed and before you had the ability to share libraries and gain access to things and go, hey, I can build solitaire. Isn't that swell?
Before cross-platform was even a thing.
Wow. Yeah, before you
Wasn't
had...
too long ago.
That's the thing. It really wasn't that long ago. You also have, straight up online or fixed online connections, and the ability to do
Hmm.
multiplayer or oh gosh, there's just, it's new. So what we're going to do is we're going to
Crazy.
dig into several things. Um, so I'm going to pretty much go out on a limb and say you are never going to build your own game engine, Danny, are you?
No, no, never. There's no reason to. If you really need to, you must have a really specific user case to do so, and you probably, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you're making your own engines purely because you want to make engines and you don't want to make a game. If you want to make games, you traditionally use an engine in some way. There's no, you'll spend so much time building an engine that you would never actually get to making the game.
Well, even a
So
lot of
no.
the huge, gigantic AAA people tend to take an engine and strip it and
Hmm.
tweak it to their benefits. I mean, I know they did that with Tor for one game, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the engines are there, the libraries are there, and as our tip of the week last week, don't rewrite the. Or, what did you say? Something
Well,
along the lines of
it was don't reinvent the wheel.
yes,
There's
yes.
something already out there. Don't do it again. There's no point.
Exactly. So let's take it to the very simplest and then build from there. So, this
Okay.
game engine stuff I hear about in the news, what is it?
What is a game engine?
What is a game engine?
Uh, a game engine is really I'd say it's a collection of tools which allow for the development of a game to happen without having to worry about different architectures, different platforms. So, for example, you have the audio layer which handles all the audio. You have the rendering layer which handles 3D or 2D rendering. And then you have stuff like networking layers, multiplayer. You have the user interface for developing the actual scene graphs and making sure that everything has the level design in there. And then it's the cross compilation. So stuff like if you want to have you develop on a Windows machine, you want to be able to put it out on Mac and Linux and Xbox and PlayStation. You have to be able to cross compile it. And engines generally take one simple code base and transpose it into different languages, which is the whole. Not every engine does that, but I'd say the majority of game engines out there can do cross compilation.
Well, that's a lovely thing considering how many times have we had a game come out and it's not on our operating system.
14.
It's that's the thing. I find myself slightly frustrated as a gamer because I have now 3 different operating systems. 4.
3 different operating systems.
4. I take that back. I have 4 different operating systems
Why?
because that's how I roll. Because I can, because I'm a geek.
So what you have
We have
Mac, Linux,
Debian.
PC? Oh, okay.
We have Debian. We have Windows. We have Android, and we have the iOS. Because you have to include your
Yeah.
mobile devices.
See, I think
So
most engines like they need to be able to do cross compilation because there's a huge plethora of devices out there that everyone has in different operating systems and different hardware specifications. They need to be able to handle that. That's why if you was to spend all your time developing an engine, you'd still be writing kind of code for like specific Linux formats. Whereas if you have
yeah.
someone else that's just purely making engines, it makes your life simpler.
I couldn't agree more. It's how I basically work when it comes to any kind of development and programming that I do. If the library exists, use it. If it doesn't, you can build it, but try to find something similar enough that you can hack it, because then it makes it so much easier. So
It
much
makes
easier.
life simpler.
It does. Absolutely. Right. So now we know what a game engine is. I'm sure most of you already know, but it's kind of nice to have a refresher because without it, what we talk about next is going to make no sense to you whatsoever. So we had a question come in when we sent out the little notification earlier today about the fact that we are going to be discussing game engines, and we got a question about a game engine. So we're going to take some time now, break down several different game engines that are out there, kind of let you guys know what the game engines are, how they're used, or any information about them. We'll also be throwing links out there for anybody who is interested in actually going to check them out. And if you have questions about anything that we're saying, do me a favor, please preface it with the Q and the colon so that I know that you are asking a question and we can then address it and respond to it. So let's start out with the most well-known, as far as I am concerned, when it comes to, well, there's a couple really, really well-known ones. So I'll
The
say
omnipresent Unity.
the omnipresent Unity. Yes, yes. So we're going to be talking about Unity. Now, a lot of people should be familiar with Unity because it is one that is used a lot. I mean, you turn around and Unity. It just,
There's always someone using Unity for something.
yes.
And there's a good reason for that as well. It's quite a well-made engine. It's accessible to everyone from different like code base. So, for instance, it can you can use scripting in C Sharp, Foo, JavaScript. You can even I've put Lua into Unity. That's one point. It's not the best of implementations, but it still worked. It's pretty accessible for people. I mean, it's free to try as well. So anyone can just take a game. Take a game idea, download Unity off their website, and just build the game without needing to pay upfront to do that.
And it's the kind of thing that this has an actual license to it.
Yeah.
So you do need to pay if you want to publish and make money off of it, or just publish in general, even if it's free.
There are some features there. I think you can publish for free. I'm not quite sure about that, but there are certain features that are locked down to pro only. So like asynchronous loading of levels, which means the loading bar, otherwise the game freezes, and while it loads, which doesn't look very good. So you want to get pro just to kind of have that loading bar, which I don't know. Anyway, that's in there, and there's a bunch of other features, but there's like a huge list of pro features where I would take forever to go through them.
Are you familiar?
It's
this is one of the ones you're most familiar with.
Yeah, I use Unity for pretty much everything these days. It's what Light's made in, even though when we started making Light is a 2D game, but it's made in a 3D engine, which I honestly, it was only because we needed to do it well, I knew it and I didn't want to switch engine to 2D one, and then now we're here. So,
but there is a 2D library specifically for Unity 3D. Is that because you did it?
No, I'm not sure we actually did any influencing towards it. I think that there was a 2D engine in the works for a very long time. I think it's something to do with the UI system they're building, because the current UI in Unity, like the on GUI codes, if anyone watching is a Unity person, you know what I mean by the GUI implementation is horrendously bad. So everyone normally has their own libraries that they've built. I mean, we've ended up building an internal one using 2D Toolkit and just a load of glue code to make it all work. But that actually brings me on to another point. Unity has an asset store, which lets people put bits of code up for sale, puts assets up like music, sound effects, 3D models, all sorts of things. They have a big store where you can buy them like to import into your project, and they are yours from then on.
I wonder if there's yawning.
There might actually be a yawning library. I wouldn't be surprised. But they have scripts for everything. They have things like localization managers. They have plugins for animations and cutscenes, and an entire animation library, I think. Maximo, I believe it's called. It's really pretty good. I mean, it's got a huge amount of stuff. So it's great for if you want to quickly prototype something and you don't have an artist, you can just buy an asset pack which has a load of artwork and put it in your game, and then you have all the artwork that you need.
Now this brings me to my question that we had from Jaredar, actually. Hi, Jaredar. Who had actually used Unity before, and he is curious if the new 2D support is any good, considering he's tried to do it in the past and it kind of didn't go quite as well as he hoped, I guess is a really polite way of putting it. So with you, one of the things that I found that, when I met you, I was fascinated by is the fact that Light is a 2D game on a 3D engine, which I thought was kind of a bit nuts.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't ideal, but it works. 2D support in Unity has traditionally been a collection of plugins. Like there's a thing called 2D Toolkit, and I'm pretty sure like NGUI, and there are a bunch of plugins on the asset store. And the thing with it was basically always rendering a sprite. But it wasn't just a sprite, it was like a 3D plane being put into a 3D engine and positioned on a certain X or Y axis. And then it still had the Z axis, whereas the new Unity has a 2D specific engine, which is sort of the same thing because you can switch in and out with 2D and 3D. So I'm pretty sure it's just a nice way of showing their 3D sprites. But anyway, it allows you to do, it's still a 3D engine with a 2D engine in it, which, yeah, they have optimized physics for like 2D physics, which means you don't need like third plane. So it saves a bit of computation, but it's still, you can have 3D objects interacting with it in a 2D scene. So I'm not quite sure how 2D actually is. I mean, if you're looking for something that's just purely 2D, you probably want to use another engine.
Okay. Let's see. To me, it makes me think. Have you ever played Paper Mario?
No. That's the... no, I don't believe I have played that.
Paper Mario, I played it on the Wii, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But the concept is it starts out in sort of like this 3D manner, but with a press of a button, the world turns 2D, and you're then allowed to see things hidden behind the fact that that wall is really just a straight line, or that tree is really just a straight line, and you flip and you get to see this angle instead of this one. So things that look 3D aren't 3D, and it's this crazy mind-bending cry, like in just nuts.
It's a bit like Fez then, where you could rotate the world in 3 dimensions and then it's flat again.
Yeah, pretty much. Jared asks, so they're no longer using 100 plus vertices for that flat plane?
For people that don't know what that is, you can create like primitive game objects like planes, boxes, and there's now a quad thing, which is just it's a quad. It's 4 vertices and 2 triangles in it. But the plane is like 100 plus quads, and people would like, I just want a simple cube, like a box, like a simple plane, and then the only plane that you could possibly get without making your own would be this ridiculously high poly plane, which no one needed. So no, they have that still, but they have a quad as well, so you can just use a simple quad. It's a lot simpler than that.
Progress, it's being made based on the needs of what you have.
The smallest of things makes so many people happy.
Well, anything that helps workflow is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. It's all about workflow.
It is. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the whole Unity asset store makes life easier for developers because we don't have to worry about coding every little thing. Like, for instance, if I need to do localization, I can get a localization manager from the asset store, which is already built by someone who's spent a lot of time building it. And then I don't have to rewrite millions of lines of code and do like a 2D engine, like the volumetric lighting we have in Unity, like the whole kind of style we have on the game, it has a volumetric light which is in 2D, which we actually got off the asset store, which we ended up optimizing it later, but the actual prototype of it works quite well, so that's what we needed it for.
And there's your secret. It's not just the engine that you get with Unity, but it's the community as well.
You get the community and the asset store. Yep.
Yep.
The asset store is one of the biggest key things with Unity. So I'd say that's one of the best things about it.
Absolutely.
Though it isn't cheap to go to buy the engine. It's $1,500 for the pro license to be able to commit to push your game to Windows, Mac, and Linux. I believe that's the case. And then there are separate licenses which are $1,500 each for iOS cross compilation and Android. Or they've just released a new one, which is you can pay $75 a month for a minimum of a year, I believe, and that gives you all the updates. You don't have to worry about when version 5 comes out, you don't have to worry about buying the license again because it's per large version. So like version 4 is one, version 5 is one, and it costs and costs and costs. So doing it monthly is what we do, which makes sense for us for what we need it for.
Which is a very, very nice addition. Because it makes it more affordable. It makes it more accessible.
It's affordable, yeah.
And that's kind of...
It's not as cheap as some of the other engines, though, which I'll go into in a minute. But
yes,
there are completely free libraries out there, but they don't do what I need Unity to do. Whereas I'm pretty sure people will argue against the fact that there are engines out there which don't thousands of pounds for. You can get one off the shelf which is open source, and it will work just as well.
I think what it comes down to, it's a matter of what your actual goal is and what you're trying to achieve. And this is why we're having this particular show, because Unity may work for somebody, but what they want to do, they don't need the bells, the whistles, the firemen, and the dog catcher all running around together trying to make everything work. They need something a little different. So this is where it helps to actually kind of have an idea in your brain and then prototype.
Yeah, prototyping whatever you know best. You don't need to make it, first time in the most expensive engine. I remember the first game I ever tried making was in Unreal, like in the UDK engine, and that was like, I honestly had no idea about Uscript. I had no idea about 3D modeling, and I just went, oh, let's make this game, and I was spending so much time reading documentation that I didn't actually get to make any game. Whereas if I just made it in something like Flash, I could have just quickly prototyped it, and then I would have been happy with the prototype and moved on from that. You don't need to go big straight away.
No, you don't. But that's a brilliant segue to bring us into our very next engine, which is, of course, the Unreal Engine.
Yep, the Unreal 4 engine. That recently went into a subscription model, which is $19 a month. And then when you release, it's going to be 5% of your revenue from the game. I think, which is before taxes and whatnot. So they expect you to, like, if you're selling the game at $5 retail, they want 15% or 5% of that. It's all written in C++, I believe. It was previously in Uscript, and they have a really nice visual editing software called Kismet, which lets you have designers just writing like game logic without any code. They can just drag nodes around the screen. If you've ever seen stuff like Scratch, it's that sort of. It's really nice and intuitive for designers. They don't need to be a programmer to do it. It's great, and they've also got a really nice built-in shader editor, which lets people make materials and shaders using the same sort of node system, and you can get real-time results, and it looks awesome. It's lovely. Unity doesn't have that built-in, that sort of thing, but there are assets that do that, but that costs again. But yeah, Unity. I'd say Unreal is probably better for designers and artists. It makes their lives a lot easier. It's more geared towards them than it is the programmers.
So this is sort of one of those PC v Mac thing. I play games on PC. Well, yeah. I do all my AV stuff and media stuff on a Mac. Mm-hmm. Yay!
But the thing is, with things like UDK and Unreal, it doesn't really matter what you use. I think it's the end result that matters. And if you can probably produce the same level of quality on a Unity game with an Unreal game, but maybe the life would be a bit easier. Unreal and CryEngine are seen more as AAA engines, whereas Unity is seen as sort of an indie engine, because mostly indies use Unity, whereas most AAA companies don't, except for Hearthstone, which is made in Unity.
Isn't that crazy? A AAA game is made in Unity. Go Hearthstone.
Moving up in the world.
It is. Right, and you mentioned CryEngine, which means we should talk about CryEngine.
CryEngine. Yeah, CryEngine is one of those graphically gorgeous engines which have out of the box this stunning art style, and like you can produce the most amazing looking graphics in it. That being said, it's mostly down to the quality of the artist that you have on your team. So if you have a really kind of bad low poly model and you put it in CryEngine, don't expect it to suddenly look like the most fantastic thing you've ever seen. It's always down to the artist. It's not the engine that makes the game makes the thing look beautiful. So it really, I don't know, they have some really nice effects. Like they have some really kind of cool designer tools that help you make things really quickly. But to be honest, CryEngine is not something I've ever really played with to a large extent. All I know is that it's got a really nice visual editing software. It's got C++, everything's in C++. It costs £9.90. Oh, sorry, yep. 9.90 euros and US dollars per month. So it's
they don't actually do a translation or
no. I would personally just get the US dollars one because it's a lot cheaper. But yeah, they don't check. I don't know why. Anyway, it looks gorgeous. CryEngine is out there. People that want to play that, play around with that, don't think you can get for free anymore. You used to be able to. But it's a good engine. It's worth checking out. I mean, if you really want to go into AAA industry, then I'd say pick up Unreal or CryEngine, play around with them, learn them, because that's probably what they're going to be using most of the time.
Most of the time.
An engine If they have
Most.
their own engine, then you're going to be learning from scratch.
Well, like I said, a lot of the AAA industry game makers will take an engine and go, well, this kind of has what we need, but now we need to build libraries for it. Now we need to build the right assets for it. And then they bring in a team that does so.
Hmm. They need like a specific thing to happen, so they buy the entire source of an engine and they rip it to pieces. That's quite common.
Pretty
So
much.
yeah, yeah. There's another engine as well, which is the Source engine, which Valve Software made. It's C++ again. It's free to play around with and make mods with and full conversions, but I believe that it's you have to contact Valve in order to find out the total cost if you was to put it, for release, like for cost. If you're going to sell the game, then it's going to cost. And I believe it's like they have Havoc physics as well, which is $25,000. You have to buy that in order to use it, so it's expensive.
Well, have you ever played Half-Life 2?
Yeah, the Source engine's a great engine. I mean, it's tried and tested. Like all of these engines are tried and tested engines. They've all been used in different ways. So I wouldn't look at the like worth learning. So just because it's documented so well, like it's got a community wiki as well, which means everyone can kind of just contribute and make it better. For smaller dev teams, like ones that are just starting out, I wouldn't recommend any of the AAA engines. I mean, you can learn Unity to do that. You could start your first game in Unity. I wouldn't say no to that. Unreal, you're going to be playing around with a lot of C++, and if you're not a programmer that's really messed with C++ before, you will be in like pain. Well, it's painful, C++.
It's not the engine that's painful, folks. It's the language you need to program in that is painful. And that is, there is a distinction. You mean, yeah.
If you want to like learn how to program, but you don't want to have to learn syntaxes, there are stuff like GameMaker, which uses GML, which is their proprietary language, which I think is like there's a thing called Scratch, which lets you drag and drop code in, which means you can say this section of logic you want it to do if this, then drop the section of logic in, and then if this, another section of logic. It's not so much programming, but it's more connecting bits of code together in ways that you need them to work. So it's a prototyping language. But it's still a really powerful engine. I mean, Game Maker Studio, there are games like Vlambeer, Nuclear Throne has been made in Game Maker Studio, and that's a great game. Everyone has played it. I played it. I loved it. It's a great game, and it's got the engine is powerful enough to make games like that come true. And I don't know, GML is something that I'm not personally interested in doing because it's kind of, I'm a programmer, so I know you can write your own behaviors for it, but I would personally prefer like a complete IDE which is revolving around code that I would write in.
You're not picky.
I just noticed Geodar just said C++ is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I agree, but it's not exactly beginner friendly.
Depends on who's teaching you.
True.
We'll have to have a C++ show.
How long you want to be spending on it? The C++ show, that'd be painful for me. I haven't done C++ in so long. Honestly, I've literally been doing C# for the last 3 years now, so I haven't touched C++.
Well, there's something for you. Marshmallows, Dr. Marshmallows, one of our hosts on the show, or on two of our other shows, says that Game Maker Studio is amazing for him because he has no clue how to code, but his students love it.
Well, they get instant results as well. They can make something themselves in a lesson, and then they don't have to worry about the thing compiling. They just need to see my character runs left. If I press left, that's awesome. That's great. That's what it should be for. That's the whole point of starting out making games. I mean, if you want to become a game designer, that's a great way of doing it. You don't need to be a programmer then. You can just design games and make them fun.
Which is a very good thing to remember. Remember, folks, there are more than one type of job within the gaming industry.
Yeah. It's not just programmers and artists. There's programmers, artists, designers. There's an entire subset of, musician, different types of designers, level designers. It's huge. There's so many different jobs that you have. Like there are out there.
Yeah, don't get me started on economy. I shake my fist at you, Eve.
Didn't they hire a financial analyst for the Eve market.
Well, the way it was explained to me by one of our other hosts is that Eve originally was started as a thought experiment by a chaos um, theorist involving human nature and money and what would happen. So, in all honesty, Eve is like the Matrix. It really is, because
Eve is a test bed for human behaviors.
It is, but at the same time, they're also one of the most innovative companies that I have seen because of how they have to handle things. Because you're dealing with real money from real people who have gone through real problems. It's basically a glorified 3D spreadsheet with all of this stuff that you need to keep track of, which is so fun for a lot of people. I mean, I know people to this day who still play Eve while playing another game because it takes them 4 hours to travel from one part of the solar system to another part of the solar system.
I used to play Eve, but it took up way too much of my time, so I had to stop.
It was a glorified spreadsheet. You absolutely loved it.
It is a glorified spreadsheet. It was amazing.
But when it came to the design side of things, now think about it. If you have everybody in one particular pinpoint of space in a 3D model, because Eve is very 3D, how do you deal with that kind of concurrency? And they've solved it through some really interesting methodologies, but it's sort of like this think tank of all the developers who work there, and the people who came up with these ideas. Honestly, it's like this giant think tank that comes up with the most random solutions. So, for example, in Eve's case, when you have too many people going into a battle, 1 second in game is actually 10 seconds in real life, because they want to ensure all of time dilation. They want to make certain that that particular moment is capable to handle the constant influx of fire the missiles and cloak, run away, and things like that.
It must be a nightmare with like network code as well. I mean, netcode is another part of game development, which is it's an entire black box of Pandora. You don't open that wormhole. It's huge. There's so many different problems you face if you're a network analyst or a network programmer. It's a very respectable career path. That's what I'd say.
Oh, I would totally get behind that without yeah. And then
MMO network engineering. Wow.
Those people deserve I was about to say ice cream cones. But yeah, that works too. But yes, so we've covered quite a few engines so far. We're now going to, I think, look at some of the more not so well known ones.
I want to go into the free ones, the ones which you can just pick up and play with right now, which don't cost you anything, and you can release complete things. There's an engine called Cocos2d and Cocos2d X, which is basically Lua and JavaScript and C++ for Cocos2d X, and that's cross-compiling to Mac, Linux, Windows. It's free. It's on an open source MIT license. I've not personally played with it, but I've been heavily recommended by Twitter, like people telling me that this is an amazing engine. They recommend it for everything. Then there's also an engine called Love2D, which I know Josie has a special place in her heart for this one.
I have to. I mean, Love. Okay, my baby. My youngest of youngest sisters wanted to get into coding and spent a huge amount of time looking for an engine that she could work with that could handle what she wants to write in, which is Lua. Although she gets really, really, really frustrated because it doesn't exactly handle for loops very well, because Lua just doesn't like for loops. So she was looking around, and then she just said to me one day, "I found love!" And I'm like, okay, nice. Should I be worried? And she's like, it's this amazing thing. And I'm sitting there going, is she talking about a guy? Did she meet a guy? And no, she was talking about this engine. And I was like, it took me a while. And I'm like, you did what? What? Wait. They did what with you? Oh, it absolutely did. But because of that, anytime I hear about it, I just sort of squeal. Plus, I'm a huge fan of Love, so. Anything that has to do with hearts and love, I'm be about it. But yes,
So Lua is a really nice, simple programming language. Honestly, it does quite a lot of things well. I won't go too deep into Lua. I know it's been used quite a lot in World of Warcraft mods and just modding in general. It's quite popular in the modding scene. It's been a
it
great thing.
is. Even WildStar's entire interface is actually built in Lua. Every single
Wow,
bit of the
yeah.
interface is an add-on built in Lua, which allows complete
It's
100%
pretty flexible.
customization. It is insane.
Lua is really flexible for
Mhm.
like modding in general. It's just fantastic for that. Basically, this allows you to do a free well, you can make games in Mac, Linux, Windows, and it's all 2D. It's all in Lua. Apart from that, it looks like it's got a pretty nice like documentation. I need to go deeper into it and actually before I can probably say like, oh, this is an amazing engine, but I was recommended this by someone, and it looks great for if you're starting out and you want to learn how to program without having to know all the intricacies of loads of different syntaxes. Lua is a great way to start.
I will also throw out
So
that I've
that's
heard that
Love2D.
I've heard the compiler in this, the actual engine to do all the tests and everything else that goes with it, is lickety split quick because it's so
Yeah, like
light.
Lua compiles really quickly. Like it doesn't
Exactly.
even need to compile; it just reads
It
it
just
in,
it
and
just
then
reads it.
executes the functions. Yeah,
Exactly. So it's an incredibly quick renderer of whatever the heck you're creating. And because it's literally just that lightweight kind of a language, you are looking at something that is basically a very small footprint for you to have to
it's
worry
great.
about. I'll just
And
watch
then
out for
there
those
is
memory leaks.
oh
Not
God,
from
yeah,
love, but
Lua memory leaks. No,
just it's Lua I'm talking here, not love itself.
yeah,
Don't worry, love.
yeah.
I'm not saying nothing bad about you.
If you're starting out, don't worry too much about memory leaks. You will have that pain later on in life, but don't worry too much about trying to make things functional. Like don't try and worry about making them optimized. Just worry about making it playable because that's what you're trying to achieve. Make something playable. You can worry about optimization later when you know the engine better. Like don't worry about that too early in life. Otherwise, you'll never stop optimizing. You'll never finish anything. You'll just be optimizing the hell out of it.
Yes. And Charadar says, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Lua. I keep shouting, why does this not create a compile error at it?
Because I think it interprets the language, doesn't it, Lua? It's an interpreted language.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately,
Okay, so
you don't get the extra little things like adding breaks and actually doing run-through codes and yeah.
compiler errors.
Syntax error.
So there's
you
also
semicolon. Sorry. Semicolons annoyed me.
there are other engines out there as well. There is a thing called Stencil, which is free for just committing to web only. So if you're going to make a web-based game and you want to make something in web player, Stencil is out there for you. You don't need to learn how to program. It's MIT Scratch project again. So it's the same Scratch architecture that GameMaker uses. It lets you plug and play behaviors in. You can create your own behaviors. I'm not quite sure if you can code your own. If you want to push your game to a desktop, so Windows, Mac, Linux, it's $99 for the license to do that, or $199 if you want to include iOS and Android and desktop. So that's Stencil. Stencil, I've heard several people recommending it to me. Like, there's a guy I know called Christos, who's Faunal on Twitter, and he recommends he's made every single game he's ever made in Stencil. So if he swears by it, it must be good.
We'll have to get him on the show.
I will next time.
Get him on the show and we can actually have a bit of a powwow and dig deeper into each of the engines. And that's something we're looking at doing, by the way. We're hoping to get in touch with not just the engine creators themselves, but we actually want to talk to the people who we know who have actually made games in these engines. So, yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I mean, this is more of a brief overview on all the engines that I know of out there. I mean, by any this is not an exhaustive list. This is just ones I know of. So there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and everyone's got their favorite engine that they would swear by. Whereas there's no one engine fits all sort of solution in this. It's find one that you work well with, and then make whatever you want in it.
One engine to rule them all, render them all.
One engine to solve every problem ever made by every programmer. That's never going to happen.
No, it's not. It's going to require
It would
monkeys
take
and
forever to
typewriters.
render. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So there's other ones as well. If you want to make Flash games out there, there are people that make Flash games, and there are some amazing Flash games out there. Mostly using ActionScript 3.
I
There's
admit,
an engine called
I'm
Flixel,
obsessed with
which
some.
is fantastic. Flixel is an amazing Flash engine. I think I made my first games in Flixel, and I loved it. It was so much fun to work with.
Oh, is this
It's
that carrot game?
No, that was made
28
in something called
characters later?
NeoGAF. That was a NeoGAF engine, which is C Sharp, Windows. It was too long ago. I can't remember. I don't know about the actual development state of that right now, so I'm not going to be recommending it. But check out NeoGAF as well. Maybe it's good. I don't know if it's NeoGAF actually.
Oops.
I can't remember. I will have
It's
to look that
been
up.
so long.
It has literally been 3 or 4 years since I've touched that engine, so I don't remember much about it. Remember it being pain. So there's Flixel and Flashpunk. I believe they are one's a spin-off of the other, but they are both fantastic Flash engines. They do the job very well. You can make pretty much any game in 2D, or I'm not quite sure about 3D with that, but any 2D game you want to make, you can do in Flash, in Flixel or Flashpunk, or just in ActionScript on its own. If you want to learn ActionScript and make your own engine around that, there have definitely been a lot of guides on how to do that out there. But Flixel, Flashpunk, fantastic. You can use them to make games in a game jam, which I would actually recommend. If we are going to do a game jam, we should make things in either Flixel, Flashpunk, or Unity, because you can make it really quickly and have something playable really, really fast.
Well, what we'll do is we might have to spread it out across multiple different things and, limit people's usage so that when we go to judge, we don't have to sit there and have all of the things.
10,000 downloads.
Oh,
of different
man.
bits of software. And do you have the right drivers for me to be playing this? Oh no, it's going to be hell. That's why engines make life so much easier, because they take care of all this.
Oh, gosh. Wow.
Things like Unity and Unreal and anything that cross compiles, really, they make life easier because they worry about all the implementations of different driver architectures. They worry about that, so you don't have to. They just
Exactly.
give you something that should work across everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not perfect. They still have little flaws where there's one bit of software that doesn't work. I mean, I'm having fun with that with Unity right now, but it's not like a massive pain to cross compile your code. It's already handled by these engines, which is why engines are great. And if you want to make your own engine, good luck making your own engine. I would totally respect you for making your own engine, but it's going to be painful. And I know of a game called Maya, right? The guy has literally built everything himself from scratch, and I take my hat off to the guy. He's made a game and he's made an engine at the same time. It's fantastic, but it's like,
Does it all just work?
It does. It looks fantastic as well. It's
It was
just
built
really
for
rare.
purpose.
Yeah, it was. It was built to do a specific game in a specific way on certain platforms, and it works. Like, well done. I can't imagine the amount of stress it would. I mean, it's one guy as well. I can't imagine the amount of stress that guy goes through just to make that happen. It's if you want to make games, use a game engine. Don't try and make your own engine to make a game. You can, but you really need to know what you're doing. It's not easy.
Don't reinvent the wheel. But at the same
Don't reinvent
time,
the wheel.
oh, man, I wonder if we can get in touch with him, because he would be fun to have on the show, because we could talk about all the woes that have occurred.
I will get him on next time. I just need to give him a phone call, and then we'll try and sort that out.
That would be lovely.
It's pretty fun.
And plus, it
He was
sounds
at
like
Rest, actually.
I probably ran across him.
Maya game. He was you control colonists in a
Yes.
desolate wasteland. Yeah, he built that entire engine himself. It looks awesome.
Yeah. There you go. We'll get this guy on and we'll pick his brains about things. But yes, and there's one that we have not mentioned. It's not a last, it's not a least, but it's Construct 2.
Construct 2. I thought I mentioned that one.
No, you didn't.
No, I must have skipped over that one. My bad. Construct 2 is a free to try, so you can just download it right now and have a play around with it. It's like Game Maker and it's like Stencil. It has the drag and drop behaviors, which is great. and you can use JavaScript, their JavaScript SDK, to write your own behaviors. I'm not sure if the other engines allow you to do that, but this one explicitly says you can, so I will just take that one for it. It's £79 for a personal license, so I think that means you can release a game for sale if you're just a single person, or £259.99 for a business to do that. I would recommend downloading it and try it for free. Play around with it, see how you feel. But if you really like it, then buy it. If not, don't. just try it out. Try all these engines. Find one that makes you happy and does what you need it to do. Don't expect them to do everything for you. Just find one that you feel comfortable using.
And yeah, and then embrace it, or try to learn them all, because you gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Yes. Yeah,
actually, Jaredar just mentioned in chat, the guy behind Banished made his own.
Yes.
Made his own engine, which is also like it's one of those rare occurrences where someone has built an engine from scratch for a specific game and it's worked. I'm not saying it's not impossible. I'm just saying you really need to know what you're doing in order to achieve something like that. And that's I really
probably
love
have
hearing
the patience of a saint.
Yeah, that too, and worry about every single possible architecture and driver compatibility issue out there. But like, that's what some people want to do, and that's great.
We'll have to see if we can't get this lovely Banished thing out, which, by the way, for those who are watching on YouTube, all of our links to everything is down below, and I'll even include Shining Rock software as well as mine, because it is so worth at least seeing what someone can do if they just decide to sit down and do it. Now, honestly, if someone's going to put that much dedication into the creation of a game and an engine, they probably don't do anything else but eat, sleep, and breathe that particular game. So if you're one to be able to play games at the same time, not exactly the happening scene.
It's all the chance to either play games or make games, and I don't know. I'm doing more making of games than playing them right now.
And it's the same thing with game journalism. You know, we have to make decisions. No, that's the thing. When you play a game, it makes a difference, I think, whether you're a developer or anything else like that. You're always looking for fun. I mean, it's entertainment. Games are meant to be fun. However, you come at it with a different eye depending upon what you do. I mean, as a developer, I'm sure you sit there and you go, why did they do that? You could have fixed that with just this simple library. Why did you make this decision, you crazy, insane person?
I actually, before I went through QA, I used to look at games and say, like, why did this bug exist? How did they not find this? And now I'm going through QA, I now understand why they didn't find it, because there's so many weird little things on different people's computers that make different things happen. It's so difficult to fix every single bug.
Oh, but
no matter how
I paid for the game. It should be automatically fixed. Like I should have everything.
True. What we should have is one set hardware spec across every single thing. That's why most games that are on console are guaranteed to work, because they have the same hardware. Mostly. I'm not going to say they all do.
Yeah.
But mostly, it's easier to make stuff for console because they have the same hardware and same specifications, and you can optimize it just for that kind of hardware. Whereas if you're on PC, you have a magnitude of different things you have to compile it for, and different hardware and different drivers. And someone might be running it on Windows 95 for some reason. You know, you never know. So it's the same with websites. Building websites, you have to worry about every single browser. That's another story as well.
I'm not going to go into that particular debate because there is actually a philosophy and a methodology on web development when it comes across cross-platform stuff. And Punkerface points out Skyrim on PS3.
Yeah, I was just about to respond to that. Yeah, I agree. There are some things that haven't been QA'd properly on a certain platform, but I don't know if they released that at the same time across every platform. So yeah, it's bad.
Ooh, did we get another security leak in OpenSSL? Is that what you're telling us, Jaredar? Ooh, that's not good.
That's not good. The Heartbleed is back.
That's a shame. And I'll include a link for people to learn about the latest news with that. And in all honesty, folks, nothing is ever 100% secure the moment it connects to the internet. You gotta just do your best. It is a big open race. So
built by people, after all.
Well, yeah. That's see that's okay. When I used to do
We need machines to
tutoring,
build this stuff.
well, no, we don't, because we need people to build machines, and that's wrong. But when I used to tutor people in programming, I remember one of the very first things that I taught them, because they'd sit there and go, "Why doesn't this code work? Why is this syntax not working?" These are people who didn't realize you really should kind of, if you're just starting out, go through pseudocode, because and that's not a name claim. I am just using actual proper terminology. It's not my code, but it's called pseudocode. But you should have some kind of pseudocode put into your comments so you can follow the logic and flow. So one of the first things I teach people is, okay, first off, computers are stupid. They are absolutely, undeniably, incomparably stupid. They do nothing that you do not tell them to do. So if it is not working,
need to be really explicit.
If it's not working, you need to find out why it's not doing what you think it should be doing. It's doing what you're telling it to do. So what are you telling it to do? And this is one of the very first ways I was teaching people how to start looking for bugs and to actually follow logic through. And it was really interesting to me, because I found that a lot of people would sit there and go, well, it's written right there. I'm like, don't write it. Say it out loud. What are you telling the computer to do? And so many people stopped and went, oh, because they read it out loud, and it wasn't no longer they were reading what they thought was supposed to be there. But yeah, computers are stupid.
Computers they need to be told exactly what to be done. Any hardware is the same. You need to give it specific instructions, otherwise it will do something that you don't expect it to do. It's not doing it wrong, it's doing what your logic is wrong. It's not the game. It's not the code that's wrong.
Oh, but the syntax, it should work. You should have for loops in Lua, right? Right?
Should have infinite loops. They should just, solve themselves. Detecting an infinite loop, good luck. Yeah, no, that's the worst thing. If you get an infinite loop, everything locks up and you have to crash the entire program to get out of it.
Well, that's why I usually do a step-through break for something like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's painful. It's really painful. Have you ever forced an actual really loop just to see what would happen?
Yeah, I did, and then my computer hated me for a while. No, I caused an infinite loop when I was writing the AI for Light, and it just the guards were just running circles, and they would never stop. And the only reason the game didn't crash was because I had like a wait in there, because they were supposed to wait a frame, so it never crashed because of that. But it was so difficult to find that bug, because they just run in a circle non-stop forever and ever and ever, and I couldn't find why. And there was this memory that was just going up and up and up and up, and it only eventually crashed when it ran out of memory. But it was so painful to find that bug, but it was because of some one line of code that caused that. So yeah, testing finding bugs is a pain, but it's really fun to do.
See, it's hide and seek, it's a puzzle, and you were able to solve the donut problem of the guards. Because they're running in circles, and they're guards and donuts. The pixelated donut, because it's just
a pixel donut.
Just a pixel donut. Can you actually have just a pixel donut, because pixels don't have holes in them? You have to put multiple pixels together in order to create a hole? Did I just create some kind of, I don't know.
Paradox.
Yeah.
Just a pixel sub-donut. Just a sub-pixel donut.
Sub-pixel? Oh, wow. Wow.
Then we're going to sub-pixels.
Oh, no. Now you're really... I'm blown away. Wow. This is when I start to lose my mind, have existential crises, and start running around telling people the world is ending. So
you found about sub-pixels.
No.
I tell you what, if you really want to blow your mind,
if
you really want to blow your mind, go into shader programming. Start writing GLSL code, and it just I look at it and this makes no sense to me, and I really like doing it because you get to make cool things, but I really don't understand it as much as I'd like to. There is a guy that I know called Byron, and he's like the shader guru. He makes the most amazing weird little shaders. He made something that looked like pencil lines being drawn. It looks fantastic, and I have no idea what it's for, but it was cool. And he's putting photos up of it on Twitter, and I'm like, this is great. How did you do this? Like post processing effect, the shader is like, I wouldn't even want to know how to start. I wouldn't know where to begin with writing shader code. Like all I know is that I want to do reflections. I have to do some sort of raycasting thing on a cube map. It's painful enough with that. Yeah, there are so many different facets to game development. It's not just, oh, I write code, therefore I just do everything. It's like there's UI design, there's UI development, there's gameplay, there's shaders, it's really fun. It's awesome.
And then we get to make or have the benefit of literally all of the dedication, hard work, and crazy experimentation that you guys do, which I love. I love it.
Yeah, it makes everything worthwhile. Getting the game in people's hands. I think that's why I say that if you ever want to make games, just finish what you start, because you get to see someone play it, and that's the best feeling ever. So it inspires you to make more things.
Yes, and then you make a sub-pixel donut. I'm stuck on a loop on that right there. You have memory leak. Right, so let us finish off our lovely show of the Datamine today with your tip of the day. Week.
My tip of the week.
Yes.
You want to do the shout outs while the call to action
while you think about this? Yeah, I can do this. Yes. So first off, thank you guys so much for joining the Datamine, where we are talking about game development, not just in a how do we do this? I mean, we're digging into it. Today's episode was literally all about game engines. Just a primer, because we are going to see about getting some actual developers on who use them to talk about them. I'd really love to get the guy who does the shading on, because we could do a little tutorial on shading, and it would just blow our minds.
I will ping him right now.
And you need to be thinking of what your tip of the week is before you start messaging more people. But yes, so to have a reminder to everyone, this is the only show on MMOBuff that actually goes out at 1 p.m. BST. All of our other shows are at 8 p.m. BST, and that's UK time, to put it into reflection.
British Standard Time.
British Summertime, actually.
Summertime? Oh, I thought it was standard.
No, it's summer. But yes, so tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we have CryEngine, Gazimov, Mizpa, and myself as we dig into the post-mortem of the WildStar launch. It's going to be interesting. We've all got a couple of opinions. Just a few. Saturday, Dr. Marshmallow and I look into Battle for Gia, which is an amazing TCG. We have some interesting updates from the developers. We're also giving away something, multiple things, all the stuff. So if you are a TCG player, you're going to want to show up, because we are talking about limited v constructed play in this particular game called Battle for Gia. And next week, we're going to be looking at UI and design for Battle for Gia. I should totally just make you see the game. I'm gonna have to introduce you to it, because I don't know if you've played it yet, but it's an interesting, quirky little game that's really quick with skirmishes. But yes, so Battle for Gia is something we're continuing with in our series, because we do basically 5 episodes, 6 episodes per TCG, and we rip them apart in a really good way, in an absolutely brilliant way. We talk about everything from is there good tutorials to is the community
that's another
good?
Pandora's box. Writing a good tutorial, there are so many different people out there with different opinions.
It depends on the game. It really literally depends on the game, and there are so many methodologies behind. And see, that's the thing. I should totally get Dr. Marsh to join us for a Datamine one day, because Dr. Marsh is a teacher, and he's also the linguist of MMOBuff. It's really funny. But he can talk about the do's and the don'ts of tutorials, and why certain things are going to fundamentally fail. And we can probably do that. And I'll just have to ask him, because he's got a lot of knowledge under his belt. And every time we rip into a game, yep, there we go. RAR tutorials.
There we go.
But yes, anytime we look at a game, we're always finding ourselves going, this either lacks, or it really needs changing, or they need to hire a teacher because they're missing something. But yes, so that's Saturday. Monday, Mizpa and I are back. We are going to be looking at all kinds of stuff when it comes to MMOs. I think sometime in the next couple weeks, we're going to have a couple of really big name guests on some of our shows, but I'm not going to tell you who or what because I'm not allowed yet. Silly NDAs. But yes, then Tuesday of next week, not exactly certain which host we're going to have, but we're actually starting to look at, last week we looked at, well, I should say the Tuesday that just passed, we talked about what it was like to survive a game going live in a guild or a community. How do you deal with the fact that servers are going to be crashing or server queues get full or, you know, the server type you're looking for is not available? How do you do this? And we talked about that. Now we're going to talk about what happens after that. The game's settling down now. Then what do you do with your community? Then what do you do with your group? What things are important there? So Screenager and Real Blank Space will be joining me for that. Then on the Wednesday, we have the Blizzard forecast. Now, Parv from Yogscast, Hearth Trollden, a really popular Hearthstone player, Mizpah, and Real Blank Space usually start the show off by playing Heroes of the Storm and losing. I don't think they've won a game yet. It's great. So, but next week, Blank Space will not be with them. So it'll just be Parv, Trollden, and Mizpah. And then somewhere in the middle of the show, myself and Dr. Marshmallow kind of pop in and wave our hands and talk all about Hearthstone, but it's all about the different Blizzard IPs out there, including Warlords of Draenor, which has just gone into alpha. Yep. Awesome. Bunkerface is the producer for that show, and he confirms they have not won a single game yet. And I postulate that it is because they have Mizpah on the team. Actually, no, I can't. After watching, but see, that's just it. After watching last night, I have to sit and wonder if it's Parv. It might be Parv's fault. Mizpah, I think, is doing okay. It just might be Parv's fault. Trollden is like a king among kings. Bunker says it's the pugs. Sure it is. Sure it is. Ah, but amazing. Then. And then next week, you and I are back on Thursday again. Mm-hmm. And we're going to shoot to have a whole bunch of different people show up. Worst comes to worst, we'll be back talking about something else. But we want to have people on to answer questions. And I know that we have a couple of big questions that still need to be answered. So, for example, we have had someone begging us to kind of go into a little bit of a language primer. And we may do that. And I really would love to get some of these crazy far out dude type peoples who do these things that blow your mind, get them in and actually set up like some kind of tutorial.
Talk about shaders.
We could see if he could demonstrate some shaders as well. I mean, that would be an amazing thing to watch in action, because honestly, sometimes it's best to see it. I recommend picking it up, but if you don't know where to start,
you need to start somewhere.
Yeah, start at the Datamine. Come to the Datamine. We have cookies. Oh, no. We have sub-pixel donuts. We don't have cookies. Wow, I can't believe you went there today.
Sub-pixels. Blow your mind.
Yes, and so now
you
get to do your thing.
My tip of the day.
My
tip of the day.
The
week would be, if you really want to start making games and you want to make them quickly, start doing game jams. Game jams can teach you the entire game process in a very short period of time. It's stressful and you learn a lot at the same time. So do game jams. That's it.
Yeah, there you go. That's a brilliant tip of the week. And on that note, it leaves me to say, Danny, again, an absolute treasure to have you on, Mr. Codable. And I'm really starting to think I need to just make that. Codable. I need to make that your nickname, Codable. Danny Codable Goodale. I mean, come on.
Nice. Danny Subpixel.
Subpixel Donut?
Yeah, blow your mind every single time.
And that leaves me to say to everyone who has watched, thank you so much for showing up. For those of you who are catching this on YouTube, because we've got quite a few people who are catching this stuff on YouTube because of the time frame for this, do let us know your thoughts and comments and everything, because honestly, this show is not to hear us talk. We are literally here to have you go, I want to learn about network development for a game. At which point, we then go through our list of contacts and go, can you come on and show them what happens when a packet explodes or is malformed?
Network. Oh, yeah, no, don't.
Oh, do
painful.
it. Bring it on.
Painful
For those of you
memories.
who actually want to hear about stuff like that, bring it on. We will find somebody who can come on and talk about it in detail, in length, and as much probable skill set that you could ever want. We're trying to bring gurus to you so you too can become a guru.
Guru to Uru.
Yes.
Nice.
Danny's just like, she is so weird. What is wrong with this woman?
She's lost it.
She's going insane. Right. And on that note, guys, have a very good day. Hearts from the Pseudo. And do make certain you keep your eye out on some crazy stuff on MMO Buff, because we've got some crazy streams coming and some people are going to go bonkers when they see some of the guests we've got coming up. And that includes on this show. Just saying. Because I happen to know something about it. One of our guests that will be coming on that has already made, I think, 7 people I know squeal like a little kid. It was kind of interesting. Nice. And it hurt my ears. But if it helps and it makes people happy, all the better. So, bye, everybody. Toodle pip.
Bye.
We will speak to you next week.
Back to work.
Back to work. Back to QA. Ha ha. Poor Danny.